Well, all right. Today I just wanted to do a quick video and talk about something that a guy from another channel mentioned on one of my last videos. I was showing the trunk lid with all the crazy weld on it, and he kind of mentioned something, and he's right. So I just wanted to bring it up because nobody on YouTube talks about it, except like one or two guys that I've seen. Lately I've noticed where everybody's doing metal finish and where the metal's absolutely perfect, and then they sand it. They won't even make it all rough like this. They'll sand it and make it look like a polished finish. And I get it. You can do really nice metal work, and that's what the video is about. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'll give a shout out to anyone who's able to do that. And the key thing about that, if you're going to weld two pieces of metal together and you're going to metal finish it so it's perfect, you must be able to see the backside. You've also got to know that it's close enough that you're not thinning out your metal when you grind. So what we decided to do with this trunk lid, and this was before the video obviously because this is how I planned the weld, but watching this other guy on his videos in the last so many years, it's part of the reason I think this way. Now, back in the 90s, we all thought this way, and this is how it was done, and I think it was kind of the right thing to do. So what we have here is a whole bottom skin that's folded right around, and what I did is I just laid it across. We basically left about 1/4 of an inch from this body line down. We did a lap weld. Now, it does add the thickness of metal. This is a big car. Nobody's going to notice that 18 gauge piece of metal thicker than before. You can see the edges, they still match pretty good. You still have the proper shape. Now, lap welded, this edge we actually bent it in and it was tight, so it didn't match. So I had to build this all up with weld and then grind it off flush. The other side was okay, it did match. Now, we might have to do more work on these corners because I'm going to throw this back on the car and double check the fitment. The other thing we did a patch in here. It's a little hard for me to show you that one, but there's a weld here and it's a little bit high. And then this one is also a little bit high. Let's go to this side because it'll be easier to show it on camera. I kind of ground it a little bit after to make it rough and it's harder to see. But anyway, you can see the weld all the way around. Now this is a butt weld where we made a piece, we fit it right inside the hole, and we kind of bent it and shaped it just by hand with thumbs, right, until it fit. Because this is a line that slowly goes away and it's almost straight here. And if you look here, you'll see I didn't even take all that off. This is in just a touch, so we're going to fill it to there anyway. This is straight across here now with these welds. You can be patient, you can keep checking it with any kind of a straight edge. Got a high spot right there. And because I know that, there's going to be some fill here. But I mean, it's not much different than the other one or how the other lid was before. So we're pretty happy with that. What I wanted to talk about is these welds. Now, a lot of guys say grind that till it's perfectly smooth. And it feels like you very well could, but if I do that, I can't see the back side. This is the back side, right? So the whole bottom of this trunk lid has been rebuilt. That's all new steel. From these holes this way, because one of these holes I think I went about halfway through it and had to re-drill it. That is all new steel. These V's were made, these plates were made, the drop down, all that was made, put together and rebuilt. It's not perfect, but it's nice enough when you open the trunk, when it's all painted. It'll look stock enough that nobody will see it. So we're happy with it. Now what we did here, we had some rust down in here and down in here, where this rust come up into here. And over here, when we could see the back and this was open, I marked this all out to know, don't just cut out the hole, cut out back to here. The backside, all this was okay. So this is the patch we made, and this edge was okay. Now I welded the edge thicker, and then I welded our plate in, welded across. I'm not taking any more of this weld out. Because even though it feels like you could, it also kind of sucked in a little bit. So we have enough room here that we can, we're going to fill all this. And then we're going to block it in. And once we do that, this will be gone. It'll be underneath. Now, you can see here where my plate came up a little bit high. If I continue to grind this until it meets this metal here is going to get pretty thin. Plus, you already welded the edge, so you don't know if you melted it or anything. So you don't want that so thin that it's going to fail. So I went until I could still see the weld, and the moment I ground it off real quick and it was gone, this is where you must stop. But if you're just starting at this, you want to see this much weld. Now you can take your hammer with a pick on it, and you smash this in a little bit, and you watch it just fall in, knock it down. Anyway, check out Lakeside Auto Body. Jerry's there, and the stuff he'll teach you is awesome. And he explains this way better than I ever will. But yeah, knock it down. Don't be afraid to leave the weld and knock it in. It's better, it's stronger, it's going to last a lot longer. So that's what we did. See here, we welded it all the way across. We're going to take our shot blaster and we're just going to run across here to get any of that little black junk out. We're going to do a thin layer fiberglass reinforced body filler with a little bit extra resin in it. So if there is any little pinholes or something we miss that we don't see, and I don't think there is, but you never know, we want that to be waterproof. So if we sandblast it, it'll give it bite. It's not that there's rust or anything. But like this little bit of black paint that got burnt from the welder, like what's going to stick to that? Hard to say. We'll give that a little shot. It'll be rough. Now here what we did, we welded around, we ground it back out to the shape it's supposed to be. Take your time, buy some of these, get the cheap ones off Amazon, whatever. You get 2-3 of these in different sizes and a bunch of those. This one pad did that one job, and I even flipped it around. Because once this side went black and got burnt, I had to use this side, and this side is dull now, it won't even take more off. This is how they look when they're new. I mean, they're cheap, they're not amazing. But you can see how the weld is good. We had cut this way back here someplace, probably right beside here. And then here it went straight off, so we filled it with weld. Sorry, we came back to here. I guess I was off camera. But that's basically all weld in here. So that can be flush. We know that's strong because, again, that's a lap weld. But you can kind of see little hints of where the edge of the weld was. So that's as far down as you should technically go. But honestly, going to be a lot safer if it looks more like that. And again, a lap weld, you can get away with a little more. And this is 18 gauge steel, so it's thick. If you shave a little off, you're probably okay. But I mean, we can't see the back of this. This isn't a lap weld. There was a big ditch in here and we filled it with weld, right? So you want to leave it at least like that. If you go to some big restoration shops, you're going to see this. They don't show this on camera probably that much. But if we're being honest, this is how it is. There's a beautiful patch right here. And I didn't bring my straight edge, but look. There's going to be filler here from this edge to this edge. Now, when I welded this in, I favored in instead of out. I didn't try to get it super flush. I basically used a chunk of metal like this. We put a little hook on it so I could get in there and pry it out. Because once you throw a few tacks, it'll sink in or stick out. But either way, you got to pull it out and so on. But instead of coming flush, I came as flush as I could and then let it fall in a touch and then welded it. So this way I can go off this line, which is perfect to the car. Same with here. And it's sunk in a little bit. So we're going to have like a 16th of an inch of filler in there. But I mean, we're going to fill from way back here somewhere probably, right up into here. And then that's all going to be blocked in together from here right into the door. Same with this patch here. We had a little hole down here, but there's a seam here where it's all pinched together. You could feel a bubble. So we went way up past it and we basically just kept cutting until there was no more rust. Up here was healthy, but from about down here was rotten. So we just came straight up and down. And when you got a point, do a couple like 1, 2, 3 welds and then work down here and then come up, and don't overheat it. But this isn't warped like at all. We're happy with that. And again, this is just a touch in, which will allow us, I can grind a little more here, but before I do, light comes through here. So I'm going to drill that out with an 1/8 inch bit just to make sure I can get in here with my welder and not just go on the surface, but burn it right into the hole. We'll hit that one as well. And then there's one right there. The rest of them are minor pits. We might hit them, but those 3 we definitely want to hit just to make sure, because they could likely be a hole. And again, the fiberglass resin should block that and make it waterproof, but I'm here, I can see them, it's clear as day. Now I can't see through this one when I put a light behind it. I can get behind here, but I can't get behind here. So again, we're happy with this fix. This is welded down here because the bottom edge of the fender was perfect, because it can breathe. Everything can fall out. But back here, there's like a metal piece that comes down to about here. All the junk and dirt sat in there. You know, it is what happens. So yeah, they don't look beautiful now, but this is a patch that's going to last and last and last. So these cars aren't driven in the winter. You know, maybe this will last another 40 years. I won't be around at that point, so it'll outlast me. Unless I live to be like 100 or something like that, eh? But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. You weld a patch in, especially if you're new to this and you're not sure what your penetration's like and whatever. If you're going to do butt welds, make sure, if you can't see the back side, leave enough weld on that if there is some spots at the back that aren't perfect, you've still got enough weld that it's strong and you won't go through. Anyway, hope you got something out of that. This is not a panel I was able to get, so this had to be rebuilt. I got a lot of videos on it because it was a pretty elaborate piece to rebuild. But again, step by step, piece at a time, and think it through. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers.